to ask you, since you focus in the Middle East and some parts of Africa, when you think about Middle East especially, you think about opulence and not so much focus on the kind of entrepreneurship that you and I have become accustomed to. So how do you try to influence this kind of thinking?
Yeah, I think these are what you see on television is not really what's on the ground all the time. I can tell you, Dubai is one of the most entrepreneurial places anywhere in the world. I'll tell you one little incident that happened to me once. I was I was driving and a call came through, and I just happened to touch the bumper of the back bumper of the car in front of me, and we'd stop. But nothing much happened. So I got out of the car, and he came out and said, I said, not much damage, is it okay? Normally the process is quite laborious. So he said, that's fine, I'm rushing too, so if it's okay with you, it's fine with me. So I said, where do you do? What are you going? I said, I'm just loading water for Afghanistan. He said, you're loading water for what? Well, don't you know? The war's broken out. And that happened like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. I had not seen that news, and I had not gotten it. But 8 o'clock in the morning, he was going to the docks to supervise the first loading, because it was the first consignment that was going. So the speed with which they grab opportunity and actually put stuff on the ground to deliver on it is something completely amazing. And so that's it's a hub that addresses the whole region. And today they're looking at that as an alternative. Of course, there was a bust that happened in post 2008, 2009, so things have got slowed down a bit after that. But I think what's happening now is a lot more grounded, a lot more will last longer, and all the euphoric stuff has all gone away. So which is a good thing. But in terms of being able to address opportunities entrepreneurially, the hunger for it is very, very high. And there are different levels of it. Somebody who's at, if he's a $100 million guy, he's looking at doing a higher level of investment. So that, the level at which you do it is different. But it is incorrect to think that everybody drives 10 Mercs and lives in opulence. It's completely incorrect to think that. There may not be poverty, but there's definitely a whole range of socioeconomic strata that exist in that society as anywhere else. They're beginning to value intellectual capital, particularly over the last 10 years since Dubai created the Dubai Internet City and put in place an infrastructure where IP registration, all that's in place, and went through they went through this whole process of ensuring that they meet the compliance of international standards in these areas. So that process has gone through. So the people are aware of it. IT is thriving in that space. IT entrepreneurship is thriving as well. So that's something that it's more a perception issue than down to earth reality. Yeah.
Finally, I'd like to come to your role as the chair for PanIIT India.
Mm-hmm.
We have PanIIT USA and India and the rest of the world. Share your experience as the chair for PanIIT India, and how is it different to the roles of PanIIT US and the rest of the world?
Right, good question. Thank you. I think, fundamentally in India what's happened is, I'll tell you one element that's similar is, IIT is a huge brand, and we ourselves as IITians, we really do not always realize the perception that people have about the possibilities of this brand. And I think, and thanks in a big way to what's happened in this part of the world, what alumni who came to the United States 25, 30 years ago have done, and what IT entrepreneurs have done, and a number of other areas have done to create the brand, the flow back of that, what the liberalization in India and the resultant growth that occurred, and again IT was a fundamental part of that whole, drove that whole growth, and what that has created a very large number of more visible entrepreneurial successes who are IITians, and that's what it's built around. Like when we went for one of our not-for-profit ventures, PanIIT alumni Reach for India, to a large government-funded agency, to seek funding, the chairman was joking with me saying that I see these names that you see as patrons, and if these are the names, why do you need money? Because we had
Sure.
Chris Gopalakrishnan, Ashank Desai, myself. So they perceive you as leaders in the IT industry. They perceive you as people who have been there, done that. So why do you need money? So that's the brand, number one. Number two, I think the other aspect of that is you're not expected to do small things. Whatever you do, you're expected to do something that has a huge impact. So any particularly social entrepreneurship or social impact that you want to do, if you have a plan to impact 100,000 people, a few hundreds of thousands of people, then I think they believe that it is worth their while to engage with you. So I think it'll be, and I think there is a huge opportunity there. So the first thing I saw when I took over as chairman about a year ago now, and it took some time to figure that out in terms of what was going on, was the previous PanIIT chairman, the conclaves that have run, and what IIT alumni have done globally across the board, have really taken this brand to a point where the expectations are very, very high. So the kind of areas they expect you to engage in, or when you engage in, the scale at which you need to engage has shifted dramatically, and it's important that we very, very clearly internalize that. That requires, therefore, a permanent organization, a vibrant, proactive, engaging, strongly communicating organization which can really do justice to what the brand is today in the engagement and what we do and what we're able to do. So I think as the first element of what I thought I should do, I said the first thing I should do is to really create a permanent organization that will outlast chairman, and chairman will come and go, boards will come and go. But like any organization, we need an operating organization that's on the ground, that's got people who actually have objectives, time-based, measurable objectives to deliver on. And when you put that in place, and there are enough smart people with a humongous amount of passion to be involved in these activities. So you find such a person, you put him there, and you build a small team around him to start with, and then the means will follow. It's like the great man, Mahatma Gandhi said, find purpose, means will follow. And so the purpose, we've said very clearly, is to engage in nation building at a level that we can make a national impact. And we've identified 3 areas which we want to focus on. Number 1, vocational training. Why? The skill gap. We talked about this morning. So skill is a huge area. Number 2, we want to engage in enhancing the education, quality of education. So that's the second one. Number 3, entrepreneurship, fostering entrepreneurship, looking at the entire cycle from seed to all the way up to scalability and exits and value creation in the ecosystem. So these are the 3 areas that we are focusing on. There are a number of projects, all projects initiated and led by IIT alumni. There's a permanent organization that's come in place. The communication mechanism is being kicked up. And so I think we are at the point where we believe that we are in the beginning of a next phase of growth in this whole thing. And the difference, to answer your question more directly, the fundamental difference is there's a huge giving back agenda that really drives what we do in India. And while the IIT alumni in US also do give back, but there's a lot more of doing stuff for the alumni at large. There's the large community. You've moved here. Some were moved, and there are more people moving. How do we support the alumni community? So that's a slight difference in the focus, but I think there's a lot of commonality as well. And as we are discussing very soon how to make it global, one large organization that can address alumni's desires and wanting to give back needs across, whether they are in the US, whether they are in India, whether in Singapore, Dubai, London, anywhere. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Yeah.